Here's the paradox. The more you think about what could go wrong, the less anxious you become. The more you prepare for loss, the more you appreciate what you have. The more you visualize worst-case scenarios, the stronger you get. This goes against everything modern psychology tells you about positive thinking. But the Stoics proved it works. For 2,000 years. It's called Premeditatio Malorum, and it's about to change how you handle fear forever. I'm Vera, and this is your Daily Stoic Toolkit. When you're ready to face the truth, I'll guide you. Today we're exploring one of the most counterintuitive practices in Stoic philosophy, negative visualization. While everyone else is trying to stay positive and avoid thinking about bad things, you're going to learn why the Stoics did the exact opposite, and why it made them unshakable. Let's start with what's not working. You've been told your whole life, think positive, visualize success, focus on the good, don't dwell on the negative, manifest your dreams. This sounds helpful. It's not. It's making you more anxious, not less. Because when you only prepare for things to go right, you're catastrophically unprepared when they go wrong. Think about your biggest worry right now. Maybe it's your job. You're worried you might get fired. So what do? You try not to think about it. You tell yourself it won't happen. You visualize keeping your job. You stay positive. And all the while the anxiety is still there, growing because deep down you know it could happen, and you have no plan for it. You're just hoping it doesn't. This is the modern approach to anxiety. Avoidance, denial, forced positivity, and it doesn't work. Because reality doesn't care about your positive vibes. Bad things happen. People lose jobs, relationships end, health fails, loved ones die. These aren't possibilities, they're certainties. They will happen. Maybe not today, but eventually. And if you're not prepared, they'll destroy you. The Stoics saw this pattern everywhere. People living in fragile bubbles of hope, terrified of anything that might pop them. One setback, and they crumble. One loss, and they can't recover. One failure, and they give up. Why? Because they never prepared. They never asked, what if this goes wrong? How would I handle it? So when it did go wrong, they had no foundation, no resilience, no plan. Seneca wrote about this constantly. He watched wealthy Romans who had everything. And the moment they lost something, wealth, status, health, they fell apart completely. He wrote, "It is in times of security that the spirit should be preparing itself for difficult times. While fortune is bestowing favors on it, then is the time for it to be strengthened against her rebuffs." In other words, prepare for the storm while the sun is shining, because the storm is coming. But we don't do that. We do the opposite. When things are good, we pretend they'll always be good. We get comfortable. We get attached. We build our entire identity and happiness on things we don't control. Our job, our relationship, our health, our possessions. And then when we inevitably lose one of those things, our whole world collapses. Because we never prepared to lose it. Here's the truth about positive thinking. It makes you weak. Not always. Not in every context. But when it comes to resilience, when it comes to handling loss, when it comes to anxiety, positive thinking fails because it's based on denial. You're denying that bad things could happen. And when you deny reality, reality eventually forces you to face it, usually in the worst possible moment. The Stoics took a different approach. They didn't deny reality. They confronted it, daily, deliberately. They imagined everything that could go wrong, and then they prepared for it. This practice is called Premeditatio Malorum, the premeditation of evils, and it's the antidote to the fragile, anxious, positive thinking culture we live in today. So what exactly is Premeditatio Malorum? Let's break it down. The term is Latin. Premeditatio means premeditation or rehearsal. Malorum means evils or misfortunes. Together, the premeditation of evils, the deliberate practice of imagining worst-case scenarios before they happen, not to torture yourself, but to prepare yourself. Seneca gives us the clearest explanation. He wrote, "The man who has anticipated the coming of troubles takes away their power when they arrive." Read that again. You take away the power of troubles by anticipating them. How? Because when you've already imagined losing something, actually losing it isn't a shock. It's not a surprise. It doesn't destroy your foundation. You expected it. You prepared for it. So when it happens, you handle it. Marcus Aurelius practiced this constantly. He would wake up and immediately remind himself, "Today I will meet people who are meddling, ungrateful, violent, treacherous, envious, and unsociable." He was preparing himself. He was visualizing difficulty before it arrived. So when someone did betray him and he wasn't crushed. He'd already prepared for it. He knew it was coming. But Premeditatio Malorum goes deeper than just preparing for difficult people. It's about imagining loss, real loss. The Stoics would regularly visualize losing everything they valued. Epictetus taught his students to look at their loved ones and remind themselves, this person is mortal. They could die today, not to be morbid but to be present, to appreciate them now, to not take them for granted. Seneca took it even further. He recommended setting aside days to practice poverty, sleep on the ground, eat simple food, wear old clothes. Why? To prove to yourself that you could survive it, that losing your wealth wouldn't destroy you. He wrote, "Set aside a certain number of days, during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, is this the condition that I feared?" This is the brilliance of the practice. You're not just imagining loss, you're sometimes actually experiencing it in controlled doses. So when real loss comes and it will, you know you can handle it. You've already done it. The fear loses its power, because fear thrives on the unknown. Once you know you can survive something, you stop fearing it. Now here's the critical insight the Stoics understood. Premeditatio Malorum doesn't make you pessimistic. It makes you grateful. When you regularly imagine losing your health, you appreciate your health more. When you visualize your loved ones dying, you cherish the time you have with them. When you prepare for losing your job, you stop taking it for granted. The practice creates gratitude through contrast. Think about it. Why do people who survive near-death experiences often say it was the best thing that ever happened to them? Because they stopped taking life for granted. They experienced the contrast. They felt how close they came to losing everything, and now they appreciate everything. Premeditatio Malorum creates that same effect without needing the actual near-death experience. You create the contrast through visualization. Marcus Aurelius understood this deeply. Despite being the most powerful man in the world, he never took it for granted. He wrote, "Do not indulge in dreams of having what you have not, but reckon up the chief of the blessings you do possess, and then thankfully remember how you would crave for them if they were not yours." He was practicing negative visualization, imagining not having what he had, so he could appreciate it while he still had it. This is the philosophical core of the practice. It's not about being negative, it's about being realistic. Bad things happen. Loss is inevitable. Change is constant. And if you pretend otherwise, you're setting yourself up for devastation. But if you prepare for it, if you regularly confront it in your mind, you'll become unshakable, not because nothing bad happens to you, but because when it does, you're ready. Philosophy without practice is useless. So let's get practical. How do you actually practice Premeditatio Malorum? Here's the step-by-step method. Practice 1. Morning negative visualization. Every morning, spend 5 minutes imagining things going wrong today. Not in a panicked way, in a calm, prepared way. Imagine the meeting going badly. Imagine traffic making you late. Imagine someone criticizing you. Imagine your plans falling apart. Then ask yourself, if this happens, how will I respond? Plan your response. Now when it actually happens, you're not shocked, you're prepared. You already decided how you'd handle it. This is what Marcus Aurelius did. Before facing his day as emperor, he prepared for disappointment. He prepared for betrayal. He prepared for difficulty. So when it arrived, and it always did, he wasn't thrown off. He was ready. You can do the same. 5 minutes every morning. Visualize difficulty. Prepare your response. Watch your anxiety decrease. Practice 2. Visualize major losses weekly. Once a week, take 10 minutes to imagine losing something significant. Your job, your relationship, your health, your home. Not in a vague way. Specifically. Close your eyes. Really imagine it. What would that feel like? How would you survive? What would you do next? Walk through the scenario, feel the discomfort, then remind yourself, I could handle this, I would survive this, I am stronger than I think. This is what Seneca taught. Regular rehearsal of major loss. Why? Because when you rehearse something, it loses its power to surprise you. Athletes visualize failure so they can learn from it. Soldiers rehearse worst-case scenarios so they don't freeze in combat. You need to do the same with life, rehearse loss, so when it comes, you don't break. Practice 3. Practice voluntary discomfort monthly. Once a month, actually experience discomfort you're afraid of. Fast for a day if you fear hunger. Sleep on the floor if you fear discomfort. Give away something you value if you fear loss. Take a cold shower if you fear pain. The point isn't to punish yourself. It's to prove to yourself, I can handle this. I'm not as fragile as I thought. Seneca did this. The wealthiest man in Rome regularly practiced poverty, so he knew he could survive without wealth. Do you know you could survive without what you have? Prove it. Practice 4. Memento mori. Remember death daily. Every day, remind yourself that you will die, that everyone you love will die. Not to be depressing. To create urgency and appreciation. The Stoics kept skulls on their desks. They wore rings inscribed with memento mori. They never forgot that time is limited. So they didn't waste it. They didn't take people for granted. They lived fully, because they knew it would end. You should do the same. Every morning, remind yourself, I could die today. The people I love could die today. Then ask, how does that change how I'll live today? What becomes less important? What becomes more important? Let death clarify your priorities. That's what the Stoics did. Practice 5. Gratitude through contrast. After visualizing loss, spend time appreciating what you still have. This is the key. Negative visualization isn't just about preparing for loss. It's about appreciating what you have before you lose it. After imagining your health failing, appreciate that you can walk, breathe, move. After imagining losing your loved ones, appreciate that they're still here. After imagining losing your job, appreciate that you currently have income. This creates deep gratitude, not the shallow gratitude of I should be thankful, but the profound gratitude of I almost lost this, so I cherish it. That's real appreciation. That's what transforms your life. Seneca wrote, he who has regarded everything as though he were on the point of losing it, will gain the greatest profit from his possessions. You don't truly value what you have until you've imagined not having it. Practice 6. Regular reality checks. Throughout your day, when you feel anxious about something, ask yourself, what's the worst that could actually happen? Then answer honestly. Usually the worst case isn't that bad. You'd survive it, you'd adapt, you'd move forward. Naming the worst case removes the vague dread. It makes the fear concrete. And concrete fears are manageable. Vague anxiety is paralyzing. This is different from catastrophizing. Catastrophizing is imagining worst-case scenarios and then spiraling into panic. Premeditatio Malorum is imagining worst-case scenarios and then preparing for them. See the difference. One makes you weaker, the other makes you stronger. One is reactive fear, the other is proactive preparation. Let's talk about what actually changes when you practice this consistently. Because this isn't theory, this is a complete shift in how you experience life. And the transformation happens in layers. First layer, your anxiety decreases dramatically. This seems counterintuitive. How does thinking about bad things reduce anxiety? Because anxiety is fear of the unknown. It's the dread of what if. When you practice Premeditatio Malorum, you answer the what if. You know what would happen. You've prepared for it. The unknown becomes known. And known threats are less scary than unknown ones. Your nervous system calms down because you're no longer avoiding, you're confronting. And confrontation is empowering. Second layer, you stop being controlled by fear. Right now, fear probably controls many of your decisions. You don't take risks because you fear failure. You don't speak up because you fear judgment. You don't leave bad situations because you fear change. You're a hostage to what might go wrong. Premeditatio Malorum breaks that. When you've already imagined the worst and prepared for it, you're free. You can take the risk because you know you'll survive even if it fails. Third layer, you become genuinely grateful, not fake gratitude, not forced thankfulness, real deep appreciation for what you have, because you regularly imagine not having it. You imagine your health failing, so you appreciate every pain-free day. You imagine losing loved ones, so you cherish every conversation. You imagine losing your freedom, so you value every choice you get to make. This isn't toxic positivity. This is earned gratitude through confronting loss. Fourth layer, loss doesn't destroy you anymore. This is the ultimate benefit. When you lose something and you don't fall apart, because you prepared for it. You knew it was coming. It's not a surprise. It's not unfair. It's just reality doing what reality does. You grieve, yes, you feel it, yes, but you don't break. You adapt, you continue, you prove the Stoic teaching, you're stronger than your circumstances. Fifth layer, you live more fully in the present. This is the beautiful paradox. By regularly confronting the possibility of loss, you become more present to what you have now. When you remember your loved one could die, you pay attention to them today. When you remember your health could fail, you use your body today. When you remember your time is limited, you stop wasting it. Negative visualization creates presence through urgency. Now let's address the objections. Because I know what you're thinking. Won't this make me paranoid? Won't I just worry all the time? No, if you're doing it right. Worry is unproductive fear. It's spinning in anxiety without preparation. Premeditatio Malorum is productive preparation. You visualize the loss, you prepare for it, and then you move on. You don't ruminate, you don't spiral, you prepare and release. Won't this make me depressing to be around? Only if you're doing it wrong. The Stoics weren't depressing. Marcus Aurelius was a beloved emperor. Seneca had many friends. Epictetus inspired thousands of students. They practiced negative visualization privately. They used it to become stronger, clearer, more grateful. Then they showed up in life as better people because of it. You should do the same. What if visualizing bad things makes them more likely to happen? This is magical thinking. Your thoughts don't control reality. Bad things happen whether you visualize them or not. The only difference is whether you're prepared when they do. The Stoics were realists. They knew that hoping bad things don't happen doesn't prevent them, but preparing for them makes you capable of handling them. Isn't this just pessimism? No. Pessimism says, bad things will happen, and there's nothing I can do about it. Premeditatio Malorum says, bad things might happen, and I'm preparing to handle them skillfully. See the difference. One is passive hopelessness, the other is active resilience. The Stoics weren't pessimists, they were prepared optimists. They hoped for the best but prepared for the worst. Here's what Marcus Aurelius promised if you practice this. Freedom from anxiety, gratitude for what you have, resilience when loss comes, and presence in the now. He lived it. Despite unimaginable pressure ruling an empire during plague and war, dealing with betrayal and incompetence, facing the reality that his own son would destroy his legacy, he remained unshakable. Why? Because he prepared for all of it. He visualized all of it. He knew it could happen. And when it did, he was ready. You can have the same. Not freedom from difficulty. You'll still face loss, you'll still experience pain, you'll still lose things and people you love, but you'll handle it differently with strength instead of collapse, with gratitude for what you had instead of bitterness about what you lost, with resilience instead of fragility. That's what Premeditatio Malorum gives you. Here's your practice for this week. Tomorrow morning, Spend 5 minutes visualizing your day going wrong, meetings failing, people disappointing you, plans falling apart. Then ask, how will I respond? Plan it, then live your day. Watch how much calmer you are when difficulty actually arrives. Do this every morning for 7 days. Then tell me anxiety doesn't decrease. If you want more practices that actually work instead of empty motivation, subscribe to this channel. We're not here for positive vibes, we're here for real strength. Share this with someone who needs to stop avoiding reality and start preparing for it. And most importantly, start practicing today, not tomorrow, today.